Hey, welcome to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and this is the space to be for high vibe people looking to create a beautiful life and business. Let's do this. Welcome back to the podcast, my beautiful friends. I am Leticia Ringe, your host, and we are back with season 6. It is such a pleasure. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. I'm recording this episode from Sydney, Australia, so I want to take a moment to open up the new season with an acknowledgement. Over here in Australia, we do something called acknowledgements of country, which is a way to pay our respects to the traditional custodians of the land that we are meeting on or from. And in my case, this is Alexandria in Sydney, Australia. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge and pay my deepest respects to the Gadigal people of the Aurora Nation. I pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. And I also pay my deepest respects to the traditional and ongoing custodians of the land that you reside on, wherever in the world you're listening to this podcast from today. Welcome, beautiful people. Season 6, hey, it has been almost 4 months since I wrapped up season 5. And I feel like so much has happened over the last 4 months. And also I feel like time feels very slow and fast at the same time. Like lots of things are happening, and then at the same time, lots of things aren't happening. And I still feel like I need more time. And so with the podcast, I was wondering, am I going to come back with another season? What's going to happen? Where are things going? And then all of a sudden, I got that inspiration that it was time to get started again. And as a manifesting generator, I move on to things very quickly. So I was quick to start with getting all of our episodes together. And I've got such an exciting season for you all, and lots of things for you all to get involved with this month. So I'm really, really excited because I think that the energy is opening up a little bit more for us all. And so I'd really love to use that opening to support all of you to move forward on those beautiful businesses that you're creating, and also on, of course, the beautiful life that you're creating too. So stay tuned. I'll fill you in on all of the things that are coming up. But I wanted to start off today just reminding everybody about what this podcast space and the intention behind this podcast is. Because as we go over the years recording these episodes, all of the themes are there, but many of you have only just started listening to the podcast, maybe this year, maybe today is your first episode. And so I really want to make sure we're all on the same page. So here we go. The Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast is all about creating a life that is beautiful to you. Now, what that means is a life that you love, a life that you enjoy, and a life that feels inspiring to you. That has been my core message from the very first moment I ever started sharing anything about personal development, and it remains the same. Now, as a part of that, this space is also here to support you in creating a beautiful business. And equally, just with your life, creating a beautiful business is creating a business that you love, that you enjoy, and that you are inspired by. It's really that simple. And the reason that this became a space for business is because I have found business as the greatest vehicle to express all of the things that we love, and to express that inspiration and to really embody that joy. And I think it's so beautiful because as business owners, we get to just be ourselves and support people along that journey of being ourselves. And this is what I believe is our purpose. Now, it doesn't have to come in the form of a business, but our purpose in life is to be ourselves. So when we look at what a life that is beautiful is to us, one that we love, enjoy, and are inspired by, your answers to that question is going to give you a lot of information about what it's like to be you. And equally, as you grow and evolve, which we're naturally all doing as part of this ever-expanding universe, you are going to, what those things mean for you, what lights you up is going to shift and evolve. I've certainly been noticing this for myself over the past 12 months. What lights me up now is different to what it once was when I first started my business in 2017. Things are changing. Some things are the same. I'm learning so much. And all of this is just allowing me to be a deeper expression of who I am. And every single time I lift one of those layers, I roll one of those layers back, I allow the world to see what's beneath that layer that I've put on top of myself to protect myself or to hide myself, the world and the people and the community around me get to enjoy as well that new layer, that vulnerability, that authenticity. I am able to light up the people around me the more I allow myself to be myself. That can be a beautiful affirmation or mantra for all of you if you'd like to use it yourself. So the core of the podcast, we've spoken about purpose, we've spoken about business and creating a life we love. The core message is still that we do that by being ourselves, by being you. And so when we started this podcast, we started off with lots of episodes and interviews of people that were in my life who were really inspiring me because they were creating a life, including work, that they love, enjoy, and are inspired by. And most of those people are entrepreneurs who I interviewed. Entrepreneurship has been such an area of fascination for me right from the beginning of starting my business, and it continues to be so today. And as you'll know, if this is not the first time you're ever hearing me, I specialize in supporting people in business to build sustainable, aligned, and thriving businesses doing what they love and really embodying who we are, embodying what we love, what we enjoy, and what we're inspired by. So all of this remains the same on this season of the podcast. You're going to hear about business. You're going to hear about holistic living. There's going to be lots of inspiration. But what we're doing that has been different from the last couple of seasons is I am bringing back interviews. So you will be hearing from me from time to time. There will be some occasional solo episodes, but for the most part, we're going to be hearing from other people. And these people are some people in my life that are super close to me, that inspire me every single day. They're all business owners. They've all got incredible stories to share about creating their own beautiful life and beautiful businesses. And as I reflect on the group of people that I'm bringing on here, I think that there couldn't be a better group of people to introduce to you all. So, who are they? This season of the podcast, you are going to be hearing primarily from my incredible clients. These are amazing people who work in all different areas, creating businesses around embodying themselves and being themselves. And I want to bring them all on. I want to share their stories with you. I want to share their areas of expertise with you all. And I want you to get to know them because these people, women, are absolutely incredible. So I hope you're excited to hear from each of these women. We're going to have really honest conversations about what it's been like to build their business, what they've learned along the process, and also, of course, why they do the work that they do in the world. Now, I know that conversation, discussion, and stories is one of the best ways for all of us to learn. And so this is why I really want to open this space up to conversations with these incredible women with you all, because it's going to be so incredibly expansive and inspiring for every single one of you. Not to mention, it's so much fun for me to record these episodes. Now, we always have some very similar topics that we're covering. However, we completely flow through the conversation. So it's casual, it's open. I am not an interviewer who just sits there and asks questions. I contribute to the conversation. I say what comes through for me, just like I do in a coaching session. It's always to me and through me. And so there is always this beautiful, equal conversation. And that is the way that I like to conduct all of my conversations. I am curious about the other person's story, about their thoughts, and I ask questions in that way. So basically, if anyone has a problem with that and is hoping that they just have an interviewer who asks the questions and otherwise doesn't say anything else, this is the wrong podcast for you. This is my space, and I love to share what is coming through for me. And I want to continue this conversation with all of you listening to this podcast. You are also equal participants in this space we're creating. So I want to open the gates up for all of you to engage in this dialogue too. So from this episode or any other episode that you listen to in this season, I invite you to come and join me over on Instagram at Leticia Ringe or over in my Facebook group, which you can find either at leticiaringe.com/make a difference or leticiaringe.com/community. Now, I want you to let us know, what are your thoughts? Look out for posts from me where I share questions about the episodes and the topics that we're covering, and just share, please share what comes up for you. I want to hear from you. This makes this space so much more enjoyable for all of us, and we learn so much more from all of us by doing that. So please know that you are such an equal participant in this space that we're creating and in the conversation. I love you all so very much. And I also just want to ask, how is everyone doing? How are you doing? Are you okay? I think that it's so important that we keep asking both ourselves and every single person around us all the time, but especially this year after the year that we've all had and been through. It's been a lot. It has been a lot. And it's around about now that a lot of people are starting to see the impact of 2020 and what that has been on their emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, creative, financial health, right? So we really need to be asking ourselves, how am I doing? Is everything okay? What's not okay? Where do I need some love, some support? And we need to be checking in all the time. I invite you to use my thriving check-in that I always, my holistically thriving check-in, which is asking financially, spiritually, creatively, physically, mentally, and emotionally. In each of these categories, how am I going? And depending on your answer, asking yourself, well, why have I given it? Why am I answering in this way? How could it be better? And really making sure you're checking in and asking yourself about that all the time. Now, I did do an episode on holistically thriving, so I'll link it in the show notes for you all. I'm just writing a note as I speak, and that will be a really great one for you to do this check-in. It's important, okay? We've got to do this for ourselves. And also equally to be asking the people around us over and over and over again, asking your community, asking your clients, asking your family, asking your friends. Something that I've noticed this year is because we're all like struggling just to focus on our own stuff that's going on, is that the opportunity to ask how other people are doing has kind of been a bit limited. And it makes sense, right? When we're struggling, it's hard to think about other people. But the point is, we've got to be having the conversation with ourselves, and we've got to be having the conversation with the people around us. So start by having the conversation with yourself, and then ask the people around you, and try to make it a habit of asking people all the time, because you don't need to take on the struggles of others, but just having someone ask, you okay? Like, how's everything really going for you? That's just like a big breath out, isn't it? It's like, I can just tell you how things have been. It's been hard.
And every single one of us are going to find that this year has been challenging. Life is challenging, right? Where it's not here to be this picture perfect rainbow, right? Even though I love a good rainbow. We're here to experience it all. And so there will be ups and there will be downs, and it will feel challenging, and we will have emotions that feel like, oh my gosh, I can't feel this way anymore. And it will really hurt, especially when you're facing them. But we're here to experience these things. We chose to be here on planet Earth at this time. And with all of the work that we are all doing in creating a beautiful life and creating beautiful businesses and supporting people in the world to make that beautiful difference in their lives, it's our job to make sure we're checking in with ourselves and checking in with others, and to allow the journey to be what it is. That's my inner voice this year has just been repeatedly saying, allow it to be, allow it to be, allow it to be. And what that means is we don't need to change any of the circumstances. We've got to allow it to be. And by actually allowing it, that is what reduces the resistance, the conflict, the tension. It like removes so much of the drama when we simply allow it to be what it is. Yeah, it doesn't feel great. Yeah, it's hard. Yes, my mental health is suffering, or my physical health is suffering, or my spiritual health. It's okay to admit that there's a problem, okay? It's okay to admit that there is a problem. In fact, from an inner voice point of view, there's never any problems, right? Everything's always okay. It's totally fine. We're always in the right place. We have everything we need. You're loved. You're abundant. Everything is okay. From the perspective of your mind, there are problems. And in order for your mind to reduce the resistance and the drama and the fight and the flight that makes the perceived problem that it has feel even bigger, what we need to do through the mind lens is just bring awareness that there is something you want to change. That in and of itself does not make it a problem. It's okay, for instance, in your business that you want to make more money, or that you're not making the money that you want right now, or that you want more space in your business, or that you feel like you just don't know that this is what you want to do, or that you still don't have the answer about what it is you want to do in your business, or that, like I said before, your mental health is suffering at the moment, or your physical health, like maybe you've put on weight, or maybe you know that you're super stressed, or maybe your menstrual cycle, you're noticing that your cycle isn't showing up in the way it used to, or maybe there's a lot of pain. Whatever it is, it's okay. Maybe you haven't been feeling creative. It's okay. We just need to see that there is a change that we desire. I think that's a better way of saying it actually, rather than problem. There is a change that we desire. And when we're able to bring awareness to that, then we're able to start making shifts to help us embody that change. So we got to be asking, how are we doing? And facilitating that conversation with other people is going to allow you to show up in what you perceive as imperfect, to have permission to just be where you are and accept that's where you are. And with that new moment of relaxation and permission and peace, it's going to allow you to open up to new possibilities that will help you to move forward. Okay, that is a side tangent that I didn't plan on going on, but hey, it's coming through, so it must need to get out there. All right, everybody. So what we're actually going to be chatting about in today's episode to kick us off for season 6 of this podcast is really just an update. I want to fill you all in on what's been happening behind the scenes over the past 4 months in both my life and in my business, because I've got to tell you, the expansion has been immense, and it's been painful and challenging and beautiful and amazing all at the same time. But there are so many lessons and learning that have been coming through. And so I want to share some of these with you all. Now, I've decided to do this using my holistic business framework as my guide. So I've actually gone through the 5 different pillars of my holistic business framework, and then I've asked myself what I've learned under each of these pillars over the last 4 months. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, if you're new to the podcast or you haven't checked out one of my previous episodes where I've spoken about my holistic business framework, here is a quick recap for you. So there are 5 pillars of the holistic business framework, and basically this is a framework that allows you to create the business and the life that you love, right? So I'm all about 6-figure strategy and holistic living. I want you to live a life that you love and have a super successful and abundant business. And so these 5 pillars which make up my holistic business framework are what I have found to be the ways to create this beautiful balance between the strategy and that holistic living. So the first is all about holistic living. And another word that I would love to use for this is simply alignment. So what do you and what does your business need to thrive holistically? So that's spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, creatively. What do you and your business need to thrive in this holistic sense? We have to know what that means in order to align with those things. So I'm very focused on making sure I'm always checking in with myself about what it actually takes for me to thrive. What do I need? What do I want in my life and in my business? And I really encourage all of you to be asking those questions of yourself all the time. Again, I'll link the episode on holistically thriving where you'll get more information on that. Now, the second part of my framework is all about strategy. So this is 6-figure strategy. It's also holistic business strategy. I want to know, how do we create the things that we want in a way that takes into account both the life that we want to live and the business we want to create. So this to me is what holistic business strategy is all about. Yes, we have a strategy. I know this goes against what a lot of people are hearing in both the spiritual world and in the feminine energy world. But what I have found, and I really believe this is part of my mission here to share and teach and spread, is that it's about balance, right? So it's not about having a strategy and forcing yourself to have a plan and do things and do all of the things or hustle or be super masculine in the way that you move forward on your business. But it is about knowing what works for you and focusing your energy and attention on the things that matter most to you. And so when we have that beautiful alignment and holistic living piece in our awareness, we're then able to cultivate intentional plans and strategies which are always evolving and changing for both our business and for our life that allow us to align with the things that we want. So I am still today a big proponent about having a holistic business strategy in your business and in your life. And it's one of my favorite things to do with all of my clients because it makes such a huge difference. The third piece is all about feminine energy and inner voice alignment. So basically, I want to make sure that we are tapped in to our feminine essence as the CEOs of our businesses and also of our lives. So we want to make sure that we are directing our life through our inner voice. So that is our intuition. We always lead from the heart. We lead with our feminine energy. So we want to make sure that we're focusing on our energy alignment. I just did a video last week for you all, which was all about energetically opening. It's over on YouTube. You can go to my YouTube channel to check that out if you haven't already. And that's an example of feminine energy. So often when clients come to see me, they want to expand their business in some way. And they're focusing just on the things they do, right? They're focusing on the strategy and they aren't focusing on how to open their energy up to that next level, how to allow it for themselves, how to trust, how to surrender. And so we we get all of this. We get this beautiful guidance when we ask our inner voice, which is that our intuition and that sense of knowing, our heart, our soul. When we get into that place of listening and receiving our higher self, we're able to find guidance that helps us to open up and tap into this feminine energy, which is simply a form of creative power that's available within all of us. It's just one half of the creative power we all have available, but it's the one that's not spoken about so much because it's not objective. The way that we describe it and experience it is different for all of us. But I have come to realize over all of the years of working on my business that the feminine energy piece is so crucial. And as many of you know, earlier this year, I got certified as an inner voice facilitator with Jess Lively, and that has now become the primary modality and tool that I'm using for myself as the CEO of my business and also with my clients. And it's simply because we're able to tap into a wisdom and a knowing that goes beyond what we see other people doing, right? And what has worked for us in the past. We're tapping into an abundant point of view and wisdom. And so, yes, anyway, I could go on for a long time about that. It's amazing. I love inner voice work, and I'm really excited to share more about that. Okay, the fourth part of the holistic business framework is all about mindset and easeful expansion. So this is really focused on the things that you do and why we don't do the things that we want to do, how we stand in our own way. So this is all about the mind. It's all about masculine energy. So I still believe that mindset awareness and the ability to support yourself in recognizing where you're thinking thoughts that aren't in alignment and how that's contributing to the way you feel and also what you do and don't do in your life and in your business is really crucial. Now, today I do less and less mindset coaching with my clients, which is really interesting. I thought that would be what I would focus on forever because more than strategy in business, what people actually need is mindset support because the reason that we don't execute the strategy is not because there's something wrong with the strategy, although potentially there could be some things that aren't aligned. But the primary reason we don't do the things that we actually want to do and that our inner voice might be guiding us to do is because we're afraid, right? And that's mindset. And so even just being able to recognize that, oh, that's my mind and it's afraid and it's because of XYZ is really helpful in reducing the power the mind has in standing in our way. So mindset awareness is still really important. And as I'm going to chat with you in a moment, I've actually found since not focusing on my mindset so much that actually I am needing to go back and really make sure I'm looking at what's going on in my mind, even though I have all of this inner voice support and work that I'm doing, which allows you to go beyond the mind. It's still really important because we all have minds. And so we need to manage that mind and intentionally direct the ship to allow ourselves to keep expanding, but in a way that actually feels easeful. So we get that by using both our inner voice and feminine energy alignment, but also aligning our mindset. The fifth and final pillar of my holistic business framework is cyclical business. So this is all about working with either your menstrual cycle or the moon cycle for sustainability, balance, wisdom, and power in your business. Basically, this is a natural way of shifting between masculine and feminine energy, and it's a way of working in your business and in your life that works with your actual energy, your physical energy at the very least, but also your mental and emotional and spiritual energy and creative energy in a way that is super natural because you're working with your actual energy, right? Like when I've got my period, I need to rest and relax. That's not a time for me to be on and to be having meetings and workshops and seeing clients and holding space for others. It's a time for me to be holding space for myself. So you can actually completely tailor your business and plan your business around your cycle so that you're doing the things that you know you're going to feel like doing at the right times of that cycle. And if you're not experiencing a menstrual cycle anymore, or for whatever reason, this still works, because none of us are meant to be doing the same thing every day. When we want to create something that's big, like a business, a book, anything else that's significant in your life, such as your life itself, we want to be working over a longer period of time to create that sustainability. It's so much more effective and productive. And so part of what I do is support people to work with their cyclical wisdom, and that is the structure that holds you every day in your business and in your life, and it's absolutely incredible. Okay, so these are the 5 things, and this is completely unique, of course. I have made this up over the years myself. This is where I see people need support with in both business and life, let's be honest. But I focus on supporting people who are business owners and helping them to create the businesses that they desire. So what I have learned over the last 4 months when it comes to alignment and holistic living is that right now, at the moment, this year, with everything being online, including all calls with friends and family and all of the things, even though my business has been totally online, I have realized how important it is for me to make more space to be offline. So offline in all areas of life and business, I have had to force myself to take more time offline. And this is because I have been tipped to the other side of the scales, where suddenly everything in my life was online. And I'm sure so many of you have experienced this as well. So I have had massive Zoom fatigue this year, and it's been really, really difficult. I've also been in lots of different courses, and I've worked with many different mentors and coaches. And so I've had lots of learning this year, and all of that required, in addition to my business, in addition to all of that, and in addition to meeting friends and family online from all over the world, because my friends and family are all over the world, I have had to be on online all the time, or had to be. I have been online a lot, and that's really affected me, especially my mental health. It's made me really, really need lots of time away and feel super depressed. And so I have had to obviously put myself first and make sure I can show up for myself. And obviously, if I show up for myself, I show up for my clients. So I've had to take more time offline, and I've had some really beautiful ways of doing this. First things first, I've been spending way less time on social media, and I've also been taking time off during my inner winter. I'm giving myself something called a big bleed most months, which means I have 5 days off each cycle where I'm essentially not online at all. As much as possible, there might be the odd couple of things I go on for, or I might feel like personally watching something, but for the most part, I'm offline. And this is something that I learned in my menstruality leadership training with Alexandra and Shani from Red School, which has been fantastic. And I've just finished that training. So it's been absolutely incredible to deepen into this cyclical work. But one of the gifts that we can give ourselves, if not every cycle, but then every few cycles, is having time off completely during your inner winter for 5 days or 3 to 5 days. And so I've been doing that most months, because it's become essential for me to feel like I find that sense of balance within myself. I've also just given myself the gift of showing up imperfectly on social media. I've taken quite a bit of time off. I haven't engaged as much. I haven't showed up in all the spaces as much as what I once did. I've hired support to help me with managing online commitments, and not everybody's going to be able to do that, but I must say it's been a really great investment for myself, because I have really, really needed to manage all of that this year. So if you're feeling the Zoom fatigue and needing more time offline, I really encourage you to do what you can to take that. I've also been, as many of you will remember, I have been healing a gut issue this year, which is something that I've probably had for most of my adult life but didn't know. It's called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so I was on this wild diet, and that led me to losing weight and also just realigning my life in lots of ways to be healthier and changing my diet. I really wanted to eat a vegan diet because morally I want to support that lifestyle. However, it actually causes me a lot of problems. Well, not being vegan, but having lots of beans and grains is actually not great for my gut, it turns out. So I had to go on this healing thing where I needed to, basically you're meant to eat protein. You're not even supposed to eat tofu, but I did, and I ate fish because I just won't eat meat anymore. It's been too long and I just can't bring myself to do it. But anyway, shifting my diet in that way and not having hummus every day and all of the beans and grains, although now I'm back to having some beans and it's been okay, I've really noticed such a difference with my health, and that's been really, really helpful. But equally, I've got to say, because I've been going through this healing protocol, which causes you to feel terrible when you're on the herbs that I had to take, I've needed more time for myself. I've needed to take extra space. I've needed to go slow. I've needed to be less hard on myself. And this is what you see, the body is always teaching us something. It's always helping us come back into balance. And so there were some issues that I wasn't aware of that going through this process of healing this issue has helped to highlight and has helped me to realize, I actually need better boundaries here. I need to chill a bit more here. And I've realized that primarily the way that I deal with stress has been part of the problem. And so I've really been focusing on making sure I protect things that help me to alleviate stress. So for instance, movement's really important for me, but more than like a lot of physical, like running or something like that, I really need lots of yin practice. I need to dance. I need yoga. And so I've really been making sure that's a priority in my life at the moment. And so that's been a really beautiful gift to recognize. I've also had so much fun this year, really setting up my home and being in the one place, although now I'm getting restless and want to move on and don't think that living in one place for any long period of time is really the life that I want to live, but who knows, it could change. But it has been really fun setting up my home. And so this year, I had two themes, home and health for a lot of people, lots of changes in the home, lots of changes with health. And I just want to say, if you're going through anything challenging at the moment, or maybe it's a beautiful up level and expansion, which by the way, if it is challenging, it's also an up level in some way. I just want you to know I really feel you with how difficult it can be, and just to really allow yourself to be where you're at, allow yourself to get the lessons that are there for you if you're willing to see them, and also just really enjoy knowing that, like, for instance, if you feel stuck not being able to move around and travel like you once have, just really reminding yourself that it's so beautiful to have the contrast so that you are able to really see that that's something that's important to you. So I have realized that, for instance, I got kind of caught up with this idea of really wanting to set up a home and buy a home and have this base and this place for myself as this like secure, safe space for me. And this year, while I've been setting all of this up and doing all of the things to do just that, I've realized that actually, that's not necessarily what I want. The level of enjoyment that I get from having a base or having a home set up or investing in purchasing a home isn't actually like, it's not, it's out of balance when I compare that to being able to travel and move around freely and experience living somewhere and then move on when I feel I want to. So that contrast, sometimes I can fight it, but when I just accept it, I can see the lesson that's there. The next thing that I have realized this year in terms of alignment is that my business is starting to go in a different direction. So at the moment, I've got two main offers. I have my holistic business Mistress Mind, which is currently running with all of the women for our 2020 intake, and it's wrapping up in December. It's been incredible. I'll share with you in a moment some of the amazing expansions our clients are having in the Mistress Mind. But just for this point, in terms of my business and its structure, my second offer is Create Your Beautiful Biz, which we've been running as well. We're just going through everybody finalizing their offers at the moment. So that's my program for people who are starting their business and earning money for the first time. It's so much fun. So they're my two offers, and they're both group programs, and it's been really fun. I haven't been doing any one-to-one work. Possibly that will be something that I open up sporadically with just a couple of spots. I'm not sure. Well, I very much work with my inspiration. But I've realized that as the scales have swung all the way to the other way and everything's been so online, I've really, really wanted to just be more creative with what I'm doing online, but also do more in-person things. So that leads me to my next couple of projects that I'll be focusing on are finally writing my first book. I've got about 4 that I want to write. So that is high on the agenda. I'm taking a month off in December, and I'm going to use that to start writing this book, which I'm super excited about and to share with you all when it's ready. And next year I'm going to be running events, so I'm really excited. They're going to be for you business owners and so many other amazing things. Like, I'm so excited, but I really want more in-person connection, and I'm really excited to facilitate that for you all. So definitely stay tuned for those. And finally, expanding into products. I know I've been talking for so long now about launching this other business, and it was going to be product-based. Well, this is something that is finally happening, and I'm really excited to be expanding my business expertise in this way as well, because that obviously just gives me more ways to support my clients as well. And what I've really learned through this process is, when we first start our businesses, it's so great just to go general unless you've got a really specific focus in mind, because you're sort of exploring, what do I actually like? How do I like serving my clients? What topics do I like helping them with? And all of this sort of stuff. So you sort of start general and then you go specific, like responding to what people are asking you for. That's how I became a business coach, or a holistic business coach. My focus became business because that is what people kept asking me for help right from the beginning. So from the past 3 years, even before my number one focus was business, I was supporting entrepreneurs and women in business. And so that then became my specific focus. And now that I've really built that up and I have a really beautiful flow of people into my beautiful programs and this community that's just so wonderful, I'm now able to expand into a new area without sacrificing that area. And I really think there's a lot to learn from that sort of I can't think of the word, but that journey. I think that's a very common one. So I wanted to share that with you all here. Now, I've also been thinking about Sydney or overseas, and as many of you know, I do not feel that I am meant to live in Sydney. I haven't felt like I energetically thrive here since being in Sydney, and every time I visit, and so that's really led me to realizing that living somewhere else, probably overseas, is where I want to be. I also want to move around a bit more, go back to the sort of digital nomad lifestyle, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to do that. Finally, in terms of life and business alignment, something else I wanted to share with you all is that, so many of you know that I returned to Sydney from London last year in September to support my partner. He was following a career dream of his, which has been really successful for him, and he's definitely so glad that he's been able to pivot in his career. And so that was my primary reason for coming back to Sydney, but my personal reason and motive for coming back to Sydney was that I really wanted to reconnect with my family on all about our Aboriginal family history and culture and community. And so this has been a really interesting time for me to be going through this conversation with my family, given the conversation we've had globally this year as a result of the Black Lives Matter movement, which has been much needed and well overdue. How this has affected me is that I am a white presenting Aboriginal woman, which is the case for many Aboriginal people here in Australia. And so one of the issues I have struggled with throughout my life is feeling like I don't belong to either the Aboriginal community or to our non-Indigenous community. And so this is a really interesting topic that's come up. I've read and I've read so many things. I've watched so many interviews, especially on Oprah's own network, all about anti-racism and being and mixed race and all of the things. And it's been absolutely so amazing for me to hear these conversations, because it's allowed me to see my own story and my own shame that I have held about being white and also Aboriginal, not feeling like I belong in either of these groups of communities, and how that's affected my sense of identity and my connection with the Aboriginal community and also with our family. So that journey has been beautiful and so connecting and also really challenging. I have been doing a lot of emotional processing, and these are emotions that many of which are not even mine. I've probably came into this life with them, and they come in waves, and that can be incredibly difficult when you have a business to run and people to support and a life to run and health that you're healing. And this is what I really feel is the theme for this year. It's like, hey, here are all the issues. Let's just all face them all at once. And I've really noticed how my mind just wants to get to the destination, the resolution. But my lesson this year has been to allow space for it to be what it is, right? Like there's no destination to get to. There's just allowing the journey to unfold. And so that's really, really helped me. And it's a very different perspective to the one that I had 12 months ago. And that's something that's really come through so strongly over the last 4 months. Okay, so that is life and business alignment. Now let's talk about holistic business strategy. So first things first, after focusing on fewer offers in my business, this has led to being able to amplify my message in an even deeper way, which is what the message I'm always trying to get across to all of my clients and to all of you in this community. We amplify our message, we focus to amplify and magnify. And so for me, over the past 6 months, I am just about to hit bringing in $100,000 in new business just in the past 6 months, which is so amazing and incredible, and also just really beautiful evidence for my mind when I reflect on the fear I had when I was thinking about leaving the corporate world 3 years ago, and really worried that I'd never be able to make as much money as I could as a lawyer. And that is now no longer the case. And it's been so beautiful to really just believe in the security and safety of my business this year more than ever, amongst an external world of so much insecurity and uncertainty. And of course, it's all of the work of particularly the mindset work I've been doing over the past 3 years that has led me to being able to navigate this time in this way, because I feel very steady in my belief. My belief that I'm able to expand no matter what is going on around me is so true, because it's been a thought I started practicing and have been collecting evidence for over the past 3 years. If you want to know more about mindset, I highly recommend you check out the Mindset series. It's a 4-part series I've got here on the podcast. I'm also going to link that all for you in the show notes. So definitely check that out if you want to know more about that. And I've also have hired a team, and I've done this because I've been creating more space for myself, and I've been getting more help with social media and up-leveling client care and service and all of the things on the back end. And this has been so wonderful. It's been such a gift to myself. I was actually talking to our Mistress Mind members the other day about investments. One of our students had asked, how much money do you take for yourself from your business? And I was mentioning that I have heavily invested back into the business from the first day of my business through investing in courses and coaches and masterminds and things that I know were going to help me to up level and expand and give me information that I needed to know that I didn't know before doing those things. And also hiring a team. So I have had Ella was working for me for a long time, and that was so awesome. Amy's also been on my team. I've also hired like VAs on Upwork in the past for specific projects, and had different people for different things. But this year I've really expanded the team and am relying much more on having people around me to support me to take over certain aspects of the business. And doing that has raised lots of new skills that I'm learning, but also it's allowed me so much more space for myself. And so what I was letting everybody in our Mistress Mind know is that these investments we make into our business, I see that as an investment in myself as well. So it's also personal as much as it is business. And this is what happens when you look at life and business alignment and then you build a strategy that allows for that. It allows you to make decisions that are going to support both the life and business you want to have. So my new team has been fantastic, and that's allowed me so much more space to myself this year. So I've been making more money than I ever have, expanding in more ways, emotionally processing in more ways, dealing with tons of issues, and yet have also had more space in my life and in my business than ever before. So that's the beautiful, paradoxical nature of how expansion is. It's like we do less to create more. And speaking of creating more by doing less, as I mentioned earlier, I also have dialed things back so that I'm only focusing on supporting my community in 2 main ways. That is Create Your Beautiful Biz, which is my program for people who are starting their business or looking to make sales for the first time, and my Holistic Business Mistress Mind, which is for those of you who are growing a business. And so I just want to mention some of the incredible results these women have been creating in the Holistic Business Mistress Mind. We've had sold out programs. We've had big sales without big launches. We've had 6 clients in one day. We've had 2 women launch books and find that to be such a supportive process for their business. We've had one woman who has a product-based business who's now turning that into a combination of events, services, and coaching and products, which is super cool just to see how creative you can be in your business, and you can really create whatever you want. We've also had one woman who's been trying to start a group program, but she has so many one-to-one clients that keep coming in that she just hasn't got the time. So we've been focusing on building a team for her. And then we've also had another woman who landed this amazing opportunity to co-author a book, and she's so excited about that. And honestly, there are so many more to mention, but basically, when you are in a community of people who are all committed to expanding and up-leveling in a way that is sustainable and aligned, incredible things happen. This community has just been so incredibly expansive, and I'm so excited to be offering the Holistic Business Mistress Mind again in 2021. If you're someone listening to this and you have already signed up, please know I'm so excited to work with you. You are going to really kick some amazing goals that you've had on your dream list for a long time. And I'm just so excited for you to do that in a way that is easeful and aligned and just brings you so much fun along the way. So I have to say that the mastermind itself is so amazing. Contributing to each other's businesses just provides you with so much confidence on your own business, but also just from at the beginning of the Mistress Mind, I give everybody a specific document to complete, and it's something that I've tailored myself. It's just amazing. It's all about life and business alignment and also your strategy. And I call it the intentional plan and holistic business strategy. And by going through that document and then having me be able to point out where things are going wrong, these women have been able to really build the business that they want, right? To hit those, to create the experiences that they want for themselves in their business. And I've realized that this is really one of my superpowers. All I need is one session with someone to be able to see what isn't working for you, because the same issues come up for everyone and because I've experienced them in my business too. So I know that if you're not making the money that you want, or you want to make more money that you want, or you want to kick some other amazing business goal, there are specific things that you can do to create those things. And often we are standing in our own way in terms of the things that we want and making it a lot harder than it needs to be. So my example of really focusing on just these two core offers of mine, and then creating more abundance than I've ever created in my life or in my business before, I'd love to just use as an example for you all of what is possible when you do something that I call entrepreneurial maturity. I'm going to create a video or a podcast episode about this concept because it's really important. But basically, when you want to grow your business, so say you're earning somewhere between $1,000 to $5,000 in your business, in order to then increase that to, increase it in any way, but also to get up to like a six-figure business, you need to be focusing your energy in a more mature and refined way. And so it is actually about doing less, not more. It's just focusing your attention on the right things. And so I absolutely love doing these things. And then it's so cool to then support you as you then go out and make those changes, which I got to say are hard because we want to do all of the things. And that's where having that accountability and support is ongoing is so important. So anyway, just as a side note, everybody, the Holistic Business Mistress Mind for 2021 kicks off in January, and I will be enrolling into that very soon. So if you want to join us, make sure you go to leticiaringe.com/mistressmind, get on the wait list, or you will see the enrollment page. And I would recommend going as soon as possible because there's only limited spaces. I wasn't actually going to announce the final spaces publicly, but I've decided to do that because I didn't end up opening those spaces up as early as what I had planned. So if you want to join us in this really amazing space, then make sure you're on either the wait list or signed up for my newsletter. Just make sure you don't miss the announcement when it goes, because it's going to be a short window to come on board. And then finally, something else in terms of strategy that I really just wanted to mention here is that I've also started, as some of you will have seen, doing some Facebook advertising. Now, I built my business to six figures without using any form of paid advertising. However, I have now been, as I expand my business even more and try to bring this message of holistic business to more amazing women like you. In order to do that, I have now been investing in Facebook advertising. And this has been a whole new kettle of fish to get my mind around, and it's been so much fun. But I just wanted to mention here that I have actually had many of you in this community and also my clients actually, and friends as well, and family getting in touch to say, it makes me so proud and inspired to see your ads showing up in my feed. And I just thought, isn't that the most amazing thing ever when your community is able to really cheer you on and is just like, yes, go you, I love you, I support you. And so they're actually so excited to see that up level in you. And I really wanted to just mention that here because in terms of visibility, which is the biggest reason why we don't allow the expansion that we want, especially when it comes to starting your business, we think everyone's going to be judging us. but you actually are inspiring people. And really, at people's core, they do want to celebrate you. So I think that that's been amazing. And I've really enjoyed doing these Facebook ads and learning how it all works this year is a further way to expand my own skills. And on that note, if you were not around for the online business Kickstarter that I ran live in August, I now have a pre-recorded version of that available for you. You can sign up on my website at leticiaringe.com/Kickstarter. So make sure you sign up, especially if you're starting a business. But even if you're not starting and you're growing, this will also be really valuable because we often get the foundation wrong when we're starting our business, and then we grow and build on that. And that's why it creates, holes along the way. So we need to realign. So that will definitely be really helpful for you. But again, if you want to join us in the Mistress Mind, if you're really ready to create that 6-figure business, you want to create your pathway to that, and you've got other big business goals, you're ready for the expansion, I'm so excited to work with you in the Holistic Business Mistress Mind. So make sure you put your name on the wait list at leticiaringe.com/Mistress Mind. By the way, I don't know whether I'll be running the Mistress Mind for a second time in 2021, but if I do, it will be significantly more expensive. And the reason for that is this year I have invested so much into my own business and into my own learning. I've worked with about 4 different coaches and mentors on different aspects of things. I've done a number of different courses, so many things this year. I was certified in inner voice facilitation and in menstruality leadership training. And I have so much more value now to provide everybody. And so the next time I do run it, it will be significantly more expensive. So I just want to make sure that you all know that. Now, finally, there's so many other things I want to talk about, but we're now on the hour mark, so I need to wrap it up. But basically, in terms of embracing my feminine essence and tapping into that inner voice work and feminine energy, some things I've learned over the last 4 months are the importance of waiting for the inspiration first. I do not live by deadlines. Often I say I'm going to do things by a certain time, but then I just don't do them. And it's not because I'm not going to do them. It's just because I'm waiting for the inspiration first. And I have seen this year how important that is. All of my biggest receivership in my business has come through me waiting for the inspiration first and then receiving the guidance and being in a flow state to bring about whatever it is I've been bringing about. For instance, when I ran the Make a Difference and Thrive, I did like this 2-week challenge. It was totally inspired. I ran it very quickly, and that ended up being incredibly abundant. And I didn't even plan on doing a launch at the end of that. It just naturally progressed. And this is the same. Recently, I've been working with Jess Lively in her Inner Voice Facilitator training as a squad leader. And she's invited people to collaborate with her in something that's called the Collaboratory. Now, I love working with the Lively community. Many of you are from the Lively community, and many of my clients are. And so I listened to all the details on the Collaboratory late, but I just so happened to listen to it at the perfect time. I was away in Byron Bay when it was on, and I was not inspired, and I was thinking, when's the inspiration going to kick in for my next thing? When's that all going to happen? And then it struck, and it struck at the perfect time. I listened to the information about this Collaboratory at the perfect time for me. I waited until I was inspired. I had a complete download, and now I'm running an Inner Voice, a business course for our Inner Voice Facilitator graduates with the Lively community. And I'm also doing some other classes and all around business, and that is so incredible. I was the first person to put my hand up for entrepreneurship, which was I had heard the announcement like 10 days after it had been announced. So I thought, of course, someone would have done that, but no one's Inner Voices had within that time, but mine did at the perfect time. And so I have really, really learned this year that waiting for the inspiration first is always the time to act. Now, when you're not feeling inspired, what do you do then? Well, when you're not feeling inspired, it's a really great time to focus on other areas of your life. It's also a great time to relax and really enjoy the space, because you're going to need that energy when the inspiration does hit. So I actually did a video recently about waiting for the inspiration. It's also on my YouTube channel. Go and check it out if you haven't already. So waiting for the inspiration first. The other part of this was not focusing on my business, because I've had all of these other issues in my life that have been coming up around family and home and where I'm going to live, and reconnecting with my Aboriginal family stories and community. Like, all of these things have been focusing my attention on other areas of my life. And therefore, my focus and attention has not been so attached to my business. And this has allowed for further expansion in my business. Now, this is a bit of a tricky one, and it kind of needs a little bit more explanation than that, because what you will probably think by me saying that is that, oh, well, then I should just focus on other things and then not invest energy into my business. And that's not true. I still show up and do my job, right? I'm still thinking about my business and supporting my community and doing things in the business. It's just that before, I had way more attention and energy focused on my business. And so it became attachment. So it's a balance. But if you're one of those people who stops and starts with your business all the time in a unintentional way, then what you'll probably find is that you just don't have momentum in your business, and that can be really difficult. It doesn't mean that you can't take time away, but there are a number of people that I have come across who think that they can create a really successful business by not giving the business the love and attention it needs, and it's just not true, especially in the early days. So there are some of the the other thing I just wanted to say is also about relaxing, really relaxing more. I've been pushing the limits with relaxation. My mind wants me to work hard. It's get back to work, Leticia. This is all going to end. But I've really been pushing the limits of relaxation. Can I just push it a little longer? It feels uncomfortable, but I haven't got the inspiration to move forward yet. So can I just allow myself to continue relaxing here? And that is working wonders for my ability to expand and bring and allow in more abundance into my life and into my business. Now, mindset, awareness, and easeful expansion. I have a couple of things I'll mention, but I'm not going to go through everything I'd written down here, because literally there have been so many things in this topic. But the number one thing, this realization I had, it was such a crucial moment. I remember exactly where I was. I was in my bathroom, hanging up a towel. I can't remember if I'd been crying or if I was just hanging up the towel. Anyway, I had this moment where my mind had a freak out, and it was thinking there's so many problems, all of these things, mostly because I wasn't doing all of the things my mind thought I should. And then I had this moment where my inner voice came in so loudly and so strongly, and it was this is not a problem. That's all it said, but the knowingness within me really understood what it meant. And what I got from that is that there truly are never any problems, zero. So there I was, stressed out, worried, maybe crying, possibly crying. And I realized in that moment that all of that was just completely not true. It was all fake. It didn't even exist. I was causing myself all of this stress and worry for a problem that doesn't even exist, because problems only exist in our mind, right? They're not true. It's not what is actually happening. And if you ask your inner voice about that, you'll receive a very similar answer. But it was the knowingness. It's forever changed me. It was one of those huge aha moments. And then I was just able to really embody that relaxed feeling and the feeling of fun in my business and in my life in a much deeper way. It's what is the point of ever worrying about anything? There is no point. There isn't a problem here. If you feel like you're not earning enough money or whatever it is, it's not actually a problem. It's okay. And so have fun anyway, right? Like, don't waste your time with the worry and the stress. And now that's obviously not something you're going to remember all the time, because that's not the way our mind is, it functions, right? It's there to tell you there's problems. So it's about constantly reminding yourself. And when you really have a moment of realization, like I did with that message, it's one that you'll never unlearn. So the more I have fun, the more I allow myself space, the more I relax, the more I take things less seriously, the more I'm able to support my community, the more I'm able to give, the more I'm able to receive. And that's just how it goes. And so, and take this from someone who has a history of over responsibility. Like, I am an overly responsible person. If there's a problem, I take responsibility for it. If someone's done something to me and you'd normally blame the other person, I take full responsibility in my part in that, because I know that's the only power that I have. However, I have a tendency to want to take more responsibility in my life for whether it's family, whether it's clients, whether it's friends, and the problems that are going on in their life too. And what I have learned through really embodying this, there are never any problems, is that by me taking a step back from that responsibility, I really allow those people in my life to step up in a greater way for themselves. So it's really about that self-sovereignty piece, and just it's the energetics, right? When we're leaning in and attached to something, we stop the expansion. So that has been really, really amazing. Okay, so there are so many other mindset things that I want to share with you all, but we just don't have enough time for it. So as a final point that I'd love to share with you all, I want to talk about cyclical business and something that I learned through the Menstruality leadership training inner work that I did for myself. And that is this: the power of meeting your inner critic. So one of the things that we do as humans is we avoid hearing from our inner critic, like your inner mean girl, the ego, the mind, like whatever term you want to give it. But it's the part of you that is very critical of yourself and is like, why did you do that? You should have done this. And is always questioning all of the things. I realized through my Menstruality leadership training that I have been avoiding my inner critic, and that actually if I create specific space every single cycle, which the time to do that is during your inner autumn, to actually listen to my inner critic and say, hey, inner critic, what do you got to tell me? What's going on? Where are things not going right in business and in life? Tell me all of the things. If I actually take time, like almost ceremony, to give space to my inner critic, to my mind, to just tell me all the things that are going on. If I don't do that, I'm actually missing out. Because when we hear from our inner critic at the right times of our creative cycle, when we hear the inner critic is giving us an opportunity for better alignment, often it just wants to tell you boundaries, and also refinement. So I realized I was not allowing myself to reach creative excellence on my business or on my projects because I was not willing to hear criticism from my inner critic. And so this was robbing me of the opportunity to agree with the areas that I could also see did need some improvement. And taking this outside the inner critic, this also goes for any sort of criticism. I usually really like to avoid criticism. I'm sure many of you are like this too. I just want to do my thing and be on with it. But sometimes people will say something or reflect something to you, or your inner critic will, of course it will, and it will trigger you. Often those things that trigger you there's some truth there, right? There's something that might need to change. And so by actually opening myself up to my own inner criticism, I have realized that that is allowing me to really up-level all aspects of my creativity. And so I really wanted to share this with you here. Now, you've got to do it in a way where you really see yourself as big and vast. Like when I went through this visualization and I felt how vast my energy is in compared to my inner critic. And I saw how scared my inner critic was and how it just wanted my attention and how actually it just loves me. It just wants me to do the best I can. The problem is I'm not listening to it. So I promised my inner critic, I had a little dialogue with it. I said, look, I'm going to always make space for you. I'll listen to you, but I'm not going to promise that I'm going to act on what you say. But if something does ring true to me, I will act on it. And regardless, I love you and I thank you for being with me always and always looking out for me. Like that's its job and it's doing a great job of it. And so I have really been playing with this. This has been more of a recent discovery. The last cycle, I did a beautiful ceremony during my inner autumn. I wrote down all of the things it wanted to tell me and I got some really great feedback, and that is allowing me to up level parts of my business and parts of my life and set better boundaries for myself. So I really wanted to share that with you all today. Listen to your inner critic. Try listening during your inner autumn when it feels like there's a lot of tension and resistance there. It's the perfect time to just give it the space and then use whatever wisdom you get. You get to decide. You have free will. Is this something I want to act on? Do I agree with it? And by the way, sometimes the gift it gives you is just saying, nah, I'm not changing that. I believe this. So it gets you to really back your position as well, which is great because you know where you stand there, right? It's like with the contrast of this year in 2020. The more contrast we've had, the more situations we've been put in that limits our freedom, the more we've been able to realize what we actually want. That's a gift. That's beautiful. And so this is what our inner critic is giving to us every single month. And so yeah, try to lean in rather than lean out, which is always seems to be the solution for everything. Okay, everybody. So I hope that you found today's episode helpful. I really just wanted to give you an update and an overview of all of the things that have been going on and some of the biggest learnings that I've had, because I know sharing the behind the scenes and stories like this is really helpful for me when I'm hearing this from others. And so I know it will be helpful for you too. Now, I have a couple of questions that I'd love to ask. So I'd love your feedback. Send me a message on Instagram or chat with me over in our Facebook group or send me an email, wherever you like. But usually the best places are over on Instagram or in the Facebook community. So I want to share with you all, if you would like me to create this. At the end of every year, I take myself through a process. I usually do it over a month, from the 1st of December to the end of December. And this is how I wrap up and prepare for a new year. I love this process. It's something I created myself. It's something I do every year, although I didn't do it to the full extent last year, and I really regret that actually. But it's something that I've realized by not doing it to the full extent I usually do is crucial for my alignment in my life and in my business. And it's something that I'm very happy to share with all of you if you would like it. So I have offered this in the past and it was called Create Your Beautiful 2018, something like that. So it will probably be something around the same lines, Create Your Beautiful 2021. It's really to help you make sure you know where you want to go in 2021, but also with allowing you lots of space for the journey, right? It's not prescriptive and it's not restrictive. It's a way to bring alignment. It's a way to really bring awareness to what you've learned about yourself this year so that you can move forward in alignment for next year. And you'll learn how to set really cool intentions for yourself and goals for yourself based on that information that you can use for your business and your life. And I'm super, super excited to go through this myself. So if this is something that you would like, then I need you to let me know and I will offer it to you all. Okay. I'm not sure what the price point will be. It's going to be something that will definitely be less than $100. So it's going to be at a low price point and it's going to be taught to you. There'll be most likely a booklet with instructions or emails with instructions. And if there is a task that is kind of needs more explanation, there will be a short video for that. but I really want this to be an internal process for you with as little as possible to consume, because hello, we've all had too much to consume this year, and I'm really happy to create this for you all if you actually want it. So let me know if that's something you want. And finally, if you've got any questions or comments or thoughts after listening to today's podcast, come and hang out with me over on Instagram at Leticia Ringe. Take a screenshot of you listening to this episode right now. Let me know whatever you want to say. I can't wait to hear from you and continue this conversation. And everybody, you're going to be enjoying twice weekly episodes from this point forward, which I'm super excited about. So please enjoy them. Share them with anyone you think would love to also listen to this podcast. If you haven't yet left a review, I encourage you to do so. It really helps to get this message out to more people. And if you are on the podcast launch team, I want to say a big thank you for joining us and helping us to share the podcast message. And if you would still like to join the podcast launch team, you can do so at leticiaringe.com/podcast-launch-team. And for those of you who join us and help us to share the podcast, we are giving away some amazing prizes. All right, everybody, it has been so wonderful to connect with you all here. I'm so looking forward to more videos and connection in the Facebook group and on email and Instagram and in all the places. I've got some really exciting things planned for you all, so stay tuned, especially in your inbox, because that will be where I'll be sharing all of the details and you'll make sure not to miss them. Wishing you all a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Bye.
Hey, if you're ready to create your very own purpose-driven business too, I invite you to check out my online program, Create Your Beautiful Biz. You'll learn how to create a business that allows you to make your difference and thrive. Just head over to www.leticiaringe.com/CYBB. Let's make creating a business beautiful. I'll see you there.